Over the past 2 years, Newcastle United have been heavily restricted in the transfer market. We have signed zero first team players. Eddie Anderson and Yankuba Minta have both needed to be sought because of PSR breaches at our club. If those two players weren't sought, we would have suffered a points deduction. And despite this massive mess going on behind the scenes, Eddie Howe and his players have done wonders this season. We have got the legitimate possibility of getting into 2 cup finals this year, and Newcastle on the pitch have still been performing extremely well despite us not signing anyone over the past 2 years. Now, thankfully, this summer transfer window, Newcastle is now allowed to start splashing a little bit of cash. According to some media reports, we have a transfer budget currently at least 100 million. For the sake of this video, let's just say Newcastle now have a £100 million transfer budget. What would I do in this situation? Let's just say, theoretically, I am part of the public investment fund. I have the opportunity now, and you guys watching this video have the opportunity now to make Newcastle United an even better team than they are. And I must say again, must stress that I have a lot of respect for Eddie Howe. The team's done so well, but how would I personally improve this Newcastle United team? I'm here on this video to do that today. If you guys enjoy the content, get down there, hit that subscribe button. Of course, in the comment section, feel free to disagree, but be constructive and be nice, I guess is the point I want to make. But again, a couple of videos like this are going to be planned and pre-recorded over the next couple of days as I'm walking the 150-mile route to Manchester. So bear with me. As for this, though, let's start again with sales. Now, Newcastle does not need to make sales this window, but I personally feel like we should make some sales. I think it's important to always keep ahead of PSR. Straight away, I would be looking and open to offers for Vlak Medimos, a goalkeeper Eddie Howe did not want. He clearly did not want this player. He's never going to play for us. Let's have some offers open for him. If we can get anything over £7.5 million for this guy, straight away, I'll snap your hands off at it. If the player wants to leave, he wants to get game time somewhere, let's make this happen. Let's sell Vlak Medimos and let's just get some money on the board. Absolute mess of a signing, but it's because of PSR. Now, let's just let him go. Matt Target, I would 100% sell in this window. A player who was good when he first came in, doesn't offer much now, and I've got a much better improvement and a much better player I would personally bring in for Matt Target, that we're going to talk about in a bit. But 100% Matt Target, anything over £5-6 million, let's just say £6 million, I would take something like that for Matt Target. And speaking of left backs, Jamal Lewis, absolute failure of a signing for us, with all due respect to him. £12 million, it was an awful £12 million spent on him. Feel sorry for the guy, had a lot of potential, but it just never worked out. To be as harsh as possible, just never worked out. But again, £1-2 million, let's just try and get some money on the board for him. Let's let him go. Jamal Lascelles, his contract expires in the summer. I fully expect Newcastle not to renew it. So again, 10 years for the club. He's been club captain. Appreciate his time. But let's let him go on a free. £0. Let's get Lascelles' wages off the book. I would be open to offers for the likes of Kieran Trippier, but I personally don't want to sell him. Again, no, any decent offer for him, I'd definitely be interested. I would sell Sean Longstaff. I feel like his time to sell, I think it's correct in this window, to be honest, when it's coming up. Now, with Longstaff, when he's had opportunities this season, when he's came into the team, he seems nervous. He doesn't seem able to really find his footing in the game. And it just feels like a signing where he's homegrown. Any sale on Longstaff is pure profit. So let's say we sought Sean Longstaff now for £20 million. You wouldn't just be able to spend the £20 million. You'd then be able to spend extra as well, because it's all pure profit. So Longstaff, for me, because of the pure profit factor, I would sell Longstaff in this window. We don't need 6 midfielders. He's one that I just haven't been that keen on, to be honest. I like him as a bloke, real up-and-coming Newcastle fan. He's gotten into the team. It's a wonderful story, but I think that story has reached its final chapter at Newcastle. And with all due respect to Longstaff, because I like him, but I feel like it is time to let him go. Harvey Barnes is an interesting one, and he is one that I am potentially open to hearing offers about, because he's sitting on Newcastle's bench when he is fit. He's got a few goals for us. He's had a few big moments for us this season. But you've got to remember, he's a £40 million signing who's on our bench. He doesn't start for Newcastle. And if there's any good offers in for him, he's really one I would be potentially interested in letting go. Again, I'm not going to sell all these players into the window, I must say, but I am open to hear out offers for Trippier, Barnes and Vlachodimos, and I would sell the rest that I've said so far. And Callum Wilson, I will currently let go on a free. That's subject to change. If he can stay fit for the rest of the season, I've said it before, he can score a few goals, stay fit for the rest of the season, I would keep him on for one more year. And if someone's made an interesting point, some people have suggested offer him a pay-as-you-play contract like we did to Andy Carroll a few years ago. I don't know if Wilson would accept that. I can't imagine that he would accept that. But if he's willing to do something like that, that might be a good avenue for Newcastle to go down, have him on a pay-as-you-play contract. He's got a lot of money already. Maybe he's being nice and generous, but again, on Wilson's point of view, I can't really see him accepting it, to be honest. But they're the players I would potentially be looking to get out of the club. Some of those I would let go. I'm going to say nice and clear again. Lascelles go, Target go, Vlachodimos hopefully go, Longstaff go, Wilson go. They're probably the 5 I'll let go at the minute. Of course, Jamal Lewis as well, so 6. Those 6 I would let go now. And as for players that would come into the team, Matt Target replacement straight away, in my opinion, is Leif Davis. Ipswich Town left back, played the most minutes for him this season. Wall's End lad, the Newcastle United fan through and through, has already stated on social media he would love to play for Newcastle United one day. I really like the way he plays. He's a lot different to Lewis Hall. He's a very attacking-minded fullback. And I feel like 2 young Newcastle fans, both left-backs, could really bring the best out in each other. I really feel like Lewis Hall having Leif Davis as the backup behind, I really feel like we've had quite a high level and real competitive amount of competition to the team. I really feel like it will bring the best out of both of them. I like Leif Davis a lot. I feel like in a good team, he'll really be able to shine through and show his quality like he has done in the Championship for Ipswich. With them going down, and he would expect them to go down, his value would drop. And if Newcastle wants him, and if he wants to come to Newcastle, which I think both could easily happen, for me, really a player would be interested in bringing in. I reckon we could get him on a decent fee as well. I reckon we could get him for around 15 to 20 million. Again, he's their biggest player. They'll not be wanting to sell him, but I still feel like we can get him for a much cheaper deal than some people might predict. Again, Newcastle fan, you've seen a little bit of Lewis Hall at Chelsea where if the player desperately wants to go somewhere, the player does have a lot of control, and I feel like if he wants that move, I think it will happen. He's someone that I'm interested in straight away. Now, if we keep all our right backs, which currently, to be fair, I've actually said we would, unless a massive offer for Trippier came in. But Kyle Walker-Peters, free agent in the summer, absolute no-brainer. Get him in straight away from Southampton. They're going to go down. He'd be available on a free. You can't say no to that. Again, nice level of competition back there. I feel like we're having him as a right back. You can then have Emil Kraft as a centre-half cover. I would have him as a centre-half cover, and I have Kyle Walker-Peters as a right back cover. So again, if he's happy coming in as a second/a third choice option for Newcastle, I think it's a very good deal to get done. And something I would personally do. I feel like the full-back options, get a few youngsters in there, try and hopefully develop the team a bit more. If we need those options there, they're going to be there for us. So I feel like looking towards the future in terms of our fullbacks, they are 2 options I would bring in straight away. Moving from the fullbacks into the centre halves, with Lascelles going, despite the fact Lascelles is going to be a 5th choice centre half, I still feel like we need a new option in for Fabian Shaw. He's in his middle 30s now. As good as Shaw is, he's not going to be this good forever. And I think Newcastle should bring in a new first team centre half as soon as possible. And Tomori is one I like from AC Milan. He's always a player I'm keen on. I think especially with getting players from outside the Premier League, they're not so expensive. Tomori, I feel like, is a player you could probably bring in around the 30 to 40 million pound region, similar-ish to the price that were paid for Botman. I feel like Botman and Tomori, or Tomori and Burnley, whichever less footed centre half you want to put with Tomori, I feel like they're going to be very good together. I think Tomori's a real quality player. He's got a lot of strength on him. He's quite a quick centre half as well for the kind of bulk that he has. But I feel like Tomori coming in will be a real good option. Again, a player that I think is heavily underrated. I think a lot of people don't talk about him quite a lot, but he's a player I like from what I've seen at AC Milan. He was brilliant against us at St James's Park last season. Someone where, if he wants to come back to the Premier League, why not make this happen? I reckon around the £40 million region, you could bring a player like Tomori in, and across the Leif Davies, Walker-Peters and Tomori trio, he's spending in the region of 50 to 60 million or so. So it's not actually that bad so far. Of course, with Sean Longstaff going out, you probably expect the centre midfielder to go on, but this is where my somewhat of a gamble will come in here. But I think with 5 midfielders, with hopefully a youngster coming up, where maybe Newcastle just getting a loan option, just getting a free agent in, I feel like 5 midfielders is all right. It's not too bad. You got to remember, of course, Jordan's coming into the team, Tonali, Bruno, that's our midfield three. And I think it's very hard, I mean, seriously hard to replace that midfield three. So the only way we could sign a player in this window for midfield would be backup. And I think there are options out there, 100% get a player as a backup. If the likes of Angel Gomez wanted to be a backup for Newcastle, which I just can't see happening, an option like him would be available. For me, Newcastle, to be honest, Willock, Miley, and our youngster in there, I think we'll be all right. As for the option out wide, who goes in Newcastle's right wing? So our current options, Jacob Murphy, and for me, William O'Sullivan. I think he is the second choice option to go on the right. But I think now is the correct time to finally land the player I personally want, Jared Bowen. Look at West Ham this season. They've had an awful season, just real negative, underwhelming, not much to it. Jared Bowen, still got decent stats, but for him, probably his worst season in a long time. So for him, his value may drop a little bit. He may start questioning, going, well, you know, I've been at West Ham for a decent amount of time now. I could potentially go to the club that was interested in me a few years back. And I personally feel like now is a real good chance to make a statement, to go into West Ham. You're going for teams that haven't done so well in the Premier League and they're just knocking that door and to potentially get some of these players in. Jared Bowen, for me, it'll cost a lot of money. I think you're talking £50 million mark. I honestly feel like it'll probably cost a good amount for him. But 50 million, Jared Bowen. Would you personally do that for that amount? There are options out there. But for me, I really like Jared Bowen. He's got a lot of pedigree in the Premier League and he's capable of doing a lot. I feel like with a good Newcastle team, he'll bring out the best on our right-hand side. As good as Jacob Murphy has been, I think we need to bring in a new option that's really going to push him back a little bit, and that new option is going to be even better. That's my personal opinion. I reckon we should get somebody like Jared Bowen in. I would splash 50 million on him. I think Newcastle United's hardest problem in this transfer window would be the striker option, and that's why I've been very lenient towards giving Wilson a 1-year extension, because the problem with us at the minute is that Isak's first choice, Ursula for me, is an outright option. So you basically need somebody that's a second choice striker who's good enough to join for Newcastle to play European football, but who's also willing to be behind Isak and to come into Newcastle United knowing full well they're going to be behind Isak. And again, I've said it before in terms of being able to look towards these relegation sides and taking players off them. And I'm going to go back to Ipswich Town again because I like Delap quite a lot. I really like the way he plays as a striker. A real explosive striker. Kind of got a bit of an Isak bulk where you just run with the ball. He's quite powerful for his age and he's probably mainly the only reason why Ipswich have even been able to score some goals this season. I do rate him quite a lot. Good youngster at Manchester City has had the chance to play in a lower league side. Being able to score a decent amount of goals in quite a bad team, a bad attacking-minded team, and him and Leif Davis have both shined out quite a lot. And he's the sort of player where you offer him European football, you offer him a chance to play in major cup competitions for Newcastle. That's still a massive upgrade in what he has now. And I don't think you'd be the most high-demand striker in the world. I don't think there'll be too many teams that are going for him. Again, he's someone that I really like quite a lot, but I think he'll cost a lot more than Leif Davies. I think you're going to be talking 30 to 40 million region for him, despite them going down, because he's still a good option for them. Probably the sort of player as well that I reckon would not mind staying in a championship for a season to try and get his reputation up for a bit before making a big move somewhere. So it would cost Newcastle a decent amount of money. I like him though. I really feel like we should go him for. That's what I would personally do. I would sign Leif Davies, Tamori, Kyle Walker-Peters, Jared Bowen, Delap, and potentially maybe a youth player in as a 6th choice centre midfield option just in case we need that long-staff cover. But again, I feel like for a season it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But that's what I would personally do. It's hard though. I'm going to be honest, it's hard. I'm kind of glad it's not my job to do that. I'm sure you guys are glad as well it's not your job to do that. I do feel somewhat for Paul Mitchell and the Public Investment Fund, but these horrible FFP, PSR restrictions that hold Newcastle back because off the pitch, you can just tell it's a nightmare. So for me, they're personally options I would look at. I think at Newcastle, despite the fact we have sought with Almiron and Kelly, I would still sell more. I think it's important to keep ahead of PSR. And I think it's important to not clear out the entire club, because it's important to have a real core in the team as well. But I think Newcastle just need to trim the fat a little bit. Just trim, just get some of the wages off and then to improve. A couple of first team options, but mostly squad depth. Again, these are players that, for the most part, I'd have on the bench. Tomori and Bourne would be the only two I'd start with, a five that I'd bring in. So, again, mostly looking at second choice options, but very good second choice options. So for Newcastle, we can get these sort of deals done. We will be looking incredibly well for next season. But again, in this summer transfer window, I'm expecting Newcastle to go out there and to really be able to build on what we have. I think with the squad we've got now, it's just improving on it, but we'll have a fantastic quality squad. You guys let me know, what would you do? Which players would you bring in and who would you go for? Take care, and we'll see you all in the next one.